sort of practitioner side, I trained to be a movement specialist. And so I consult on shows for non-fight things, but most of the time I direct choreograph violence. So those are moments in live theatrical events that someone, like words have become not enough. And so now they've come to blows, or it's a moment of violence where in order to remain safe, it cannot just be improv. It has to be very specifically choreographed using the techniques of the art of stage combat to be able to have it be like exciting, but more importantly, reproducible and safe.
Right.
And so I would describe that work as emphasizing on three things in this order, which is safety, story, spectacle. And so the safety is in the technique, the story is in the emphasis on the acting as opposed to the moves, and the spectacle is if I can't, and if the actors are amenable and have the skill and training, and if I'm given enough time, I can make it look really good. And so I can tell you that my journey began in undergrad. I went to a school called the University of Evansville. And the teachers there saw that I had an aptitude for both teaching and movement. And so they coached me and said, have you ever heard of stage combat? And I was like, I have no idea what that is. And so in true undergraduate and liberal arts situations, the teachers or the faculty are always finding ways to sort of personalize, well, at a good school, are always finding ways to individualize the education and to get you where you want, or where you can be the type of professional you want to grow into. So they introduce you to topics, and then some land and some don't land. But this landed. So my undergraduate created two instances that changed my life. And that was, they paid for me to train. My first stage combat workshop and certifications were paid for by my undergrad. And they created scenarios for me to be a TA in movement class. And so they said, if you go and learn this and bring it back, then we will give you a chance to teach it and you will help us, and that's why we will pay for it. What I didn't know at the time was that there were no TA-ships. They created that for me, right? They saw an aptitude, they saw a potential. And so, like, while they didn't have TAs there, I got 4 semesters of being a TA, which then gave me the experience to move forward in becoming a choreographer and educator of movement and stage combat. As the fight director for a show, and in particular this show, the first thing I start with is, what does the director want, right? So it is not just about me coming in with a choreography already set that is independent of the director. That doesn't fit, right? So a fight choreographer or fight director, similar to a designer, is collaborating and bringing the vision of the playwright in conjunction with the leadership of the director onto the stage. And so we are part of one team. So I don't just come in and create a choreography that is independent of the set or costumes or lights or the director's vision. It must fit into them. And the only way I know how to do that is to have a conversation with the director and ask, what is your vision? And it can be as simple as, what do you want? What do you want to see? But I have to have probing questions to have that director explain it. Then I take those initial ideas and I read the script before and after that conversation. So I read it before so that I can understand it as a piece of literature. Then I take the director's ideas, concepts, and initial provocations, and I read it again as a fight director. And I begin to look at it from the point of view of violence, of what physical story are we telling, which sometimes the playwright has given us clues in the words, the language that comes before the fight, during the fight, or after the fight. So if before the fight or during the fight, someone mentions something they're going to do, then that is a clue to me that that has to get included. So if a character says, why did you punch that guy? Then I know that that choreography has to include a punch in order to make it dramaturgically make sense.
Right.
Yet, it is not, my art form is not just about a generic punch in that instance. I need to think about what is the character work that is being done by the actor, plus the character work that is built in by the words and language of the author. And then together with my ideas about where can I put them on the stage that will have interesting sight lines, what stage pictures can I build with their bodies, both in a moment of like a hit and a transition to the next hit. And then how do I not counter without knowing usually what the director has set up in the scenes before and after. So it's really important to see their work, like what pages lead into a fight are very important because you want it to make sense. So you don't want the audience to sit there, watch a scene, and then say, oh, the fight scene happened, and then another scene started. No. It should be a seamless story that matches what the playwright has written. And really, I don't want people to think about the choreography. If I do my job well and the actors are able to execute on that choreography, they should actually think about like being worried for the character. And the character got hit, oh my gosh, like it's a moment of both excitement but also conflict. And I want them to think about the conflict,
Right.
not be worried for the actors or thinking about my choreography. That is, I actually would prefer if they didn't think that.